The Drum Candy Podcast is brought to you by Drum Factory Direct.
All right, welcome back to the Drum Candy Podcast. This is your host, Mike Dawson, coming to you from Drum Factory Direct in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are wrapping up Season 6 with Part 2 of 10 Reasons to Love Peter Erskine. As Tom and Dave were talking about in Part 1, Peter's career is so vast, his discography is just so deep. We are just focusing on like a tiny little era, tiny little snapshot of everything he's done. So make sure you go check out all of Peter's work, and we're going to wrap it up here with 5 more reasons to love Peter Erskine. Beautiful.
Yo, I gotta get that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great.
His bass sound is amazing too.
Yeah, great bass sound.
The sound of everything is great.
Yeah. And you know, most of that's just he's just playing behind a bass solo.
Yeah.
And it's like
It's great.
you can play whatever you want, man, if you deliver it right.
Right.
You know? Especially if you have something to say.
Yeah.
It's supportive, but it's interactive. It's not necessarily hooking up, but it's
perfect the way he does it. Man.
Is the rest of the record kind of fluid like that?
It moves around some different spots, but that's the vibe. It's kind of like
I gotta check that
the
out.
album's called Anthem, and the album is called Star.
It's under Garbarek's name, I believe.
I think all 3 of their names are on it, but that's probably his name is first, you know.
Okay, yeah. I gotta check that out. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know that if I would have picked that to be Peter on first note.
Yeah, if that was a blindfold test, I'm not sure.
I would get that in a second. I've heard so much of
the record, yeah.
I mean, if I hadn't heard it, you know, yeah.
I mean, maybe the ride cymbals are so clean and clear. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow.
We should do blindfold tests.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's branch off.
That'd be fun.
That'd be interesting.
I'm always down for that.
That's beautiful. So much music to listen to. What's next?
Let's do one at times.
Let's do the Lady in the Lake.
Okay.
We both have a track off of this album.
Is that cool to do that one now?
Yes, and maybe we'll do them back to back.
Yeah, okay.
And just talk about.
Yeah, let's do that.
These are off of one of his records as
Yeah.
a leader.
Yeah. This was like early 90s or I can't remember.
This is probably getting into the mid 90s. This one, maybe 94, 95.
94,
96.
95, yeah.
I think this is the second band. I think this is the second album of this trio.
Yeah.
Which is Peter Erskine, John Taylor, and Polly Danielson.
Yeah.
I think Peter just wrote about this record because Polly just passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
He wrote about it on his Facebook page, I think, and talked about the drums and
wow.
everything. It was like a Gretsch snare that he was kind of talking about.
I really like this record a lot.
Yeah.
And
all 4 of them those records are great. There's a nice video of that band playing that got released.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Mm-hmm. I chose this track because Peter plays brushes on it, and it's a very plaintive sort of, it's not a very notey melody, it's very open, and his groove, what he plays, it kind of makes the tune sort of speak, you know, and it's what he's playing is very simple, but it feels great, it's creative, and then you'll hear he does some of that bending of the time a little bit, and it's so tasteful and man, like if I was on that record date and we were playing that tune, I would want to be able to come up with something like that because it serves the music so well. So this is called the Lady in the Lake.
And we are starting 117 into the track. those you hate to fade out, but you got to do it.
Well, it's funny, man. Like when we first started doing these, it was like, find these 30-second clips, and they've all turned into like 2.5 minute clips. But it's sometimes you need some time to hear how these people navigate this music, and
it's amazing.
And there's so much, and we're still just getting a little
snapshot.
Yeah, right.
I'll do mine off the same record, not to cut that off. But it's kind of similar. I mean, he's playing with sticks.
This is
and like that one we just heard, like that can't be anybody else. Even though he's just playing brushes on the snare drum, and I mean he's doing a lot.
It's beautiful, man.
The touch, the control of the bass drum,
everything.
Simple pattern, but it's like so unique.
It makes the tune just kind of. It gives it just that little.
Yeah.
And I think it makes what John and Polly are doing. It gives it meaning. You know, because they're playing very sparse and very.
Well, this band in general was kind
like
of,
that. Yeah.
A lot of it's rubato and not in time.
Yeah.
The clip of mine, it is in time, but and it's it's on ECM. It's those guys played with all these other like these other musicians played with John Christensen and Motion and some of these kind of guys. So I think that influence is there too.
Sure.
But let's check out this other one from the same record. The record's called As It Is.
Yeah.
And this track is called Esperanza.
Esperanza. Here we go from the top. Oop, I've got it muted. Try that again from the top.
I totally forgot that tune was on this record.
Masterful.
Like it sounds easy to do, but it's not. No,
it's not.
He's got so much control, so much patience.
Yeah.
Taste.
He's playing light too. You can tell he's playing really light.
Yes. And he gets such a, like, even when he just hit the tom and that, I mean, it was just the sound.
And the records sound so good. Like, check these records out. Buy these records,
yeah,
man.
they're so good.
That goes for all these things. We don't say that enough.
Yeah.
Like, do yourself a favor. Check out these records.
Yeah, you won't be sorry.
Yeah.
Kurt Elling recorded a great vocal version of that tune on a live record.
Really?
But there's really great lyrics to it, yeah. It's a beautiful song. Gosh. They play it so well, man. God.
And I think, like, the dynamics, like the softer playing, it's like that only gets more and more and more appealing to me the older I get. Like, I don't want to, like, I'm getting tired. I mean, it's fun sometimes to hit hard, don't get me wrong. But, man, there's so much, for me, I think there's so much more to say with space and touch.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I'm, yeah.
Like the band, you saw me with it, you said you enjoyed the band with John Shannon and Grubbs.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff's coming out of so much of
Yeah,
this kind of stuff.
Now that you've said it, I can hear the Erskine and what I've heard you play. Yep.
I mean, it's all those guys, Alvin and Motion and all, and definitely Erskine, man, definitely.
Yeah, he has such a beautiful way with the music, of we've said this a few times, but just serving the music, it would be very easy for the drummer to ruin something like that.
Oh, no, right?
Overthinking, overplaying, or just not but it's like
or not
immediately.
contributing. You could also just not contribute.
That too.
It'd be just boring. Like, I wonder if there's alternate takes or rehearsal takes of any of this stuff. I would love to hear his first approach versus what it became. Or maybe that was it.
I think
it's
it
his
could.
record,
It could be either with someone like him.
Well, I think a lot. I mean, the ECM records in general, Manford has a lot of input on those records.
Mm-hmm.
He really
he's a part of it.
Is part of the. He's like the fourth. If it's a trio, he's the other guy. He's the fourth guy.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of footage of like him giving input. I don't know specifically. I've never been on a session with him, but I'm sure some records are less than others. But they're going for a specific thing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Really beautiful stuff.
Where do
That's
we
a
go
great
next?
record.
Let's do Tom's.
We have another big band tune here.
Yeah. So this is from another Bob Mincer big band record called Spectrum. This is the title track, and it starts out with just Erskine and Bob Mincer playing, and you can really hear his straight ahead influence, and he sounds great. And then when the band comes in, just sort of, again, it's like all these little subtle things that he does. This is not a traditional big band, so it requires somebody that can really sort of play the traditional big band drummer role, but then really hone in on each individual tune and give it what it needs. And that's, of course, what he's doing on this.
So, all right, from the top,
Yep.
Spectrum. That's another one. Let's just play the whole freaking track.
Sorry, I misspoke. It's the ensemble into the tenor solo, not the other way around. I apologize. But like that, there's one point where the horns go wah, and he just plays that cymbal that just goes whoosh, and it's just like, it's like, man, I mean, you couldn't play that any better, And it's little stuff like that that makes it a great performance and not a good performance. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Jack.
Yeah.
Like all
that's what
day,
I'm hearing,
you know. But Peter, of course.
Yeah,
you
totally.
know.
Is Mincer coming from big band lineage? Was he in the Kenton band or something like that?
He played in the Mel Lewis big band, and he did some
that's right,
arranging for them. So he kind of did, yeah. He kind of came out of the big band tradition. Yep.
Rat, I don't know these records at all. I've played some of these charts in college, probably very poorly.
A lot of big bands have played a lot of these charts. It's really I enjoyed going back listening to them.
Yeah, a lot of big bands were playing that stuff back then. A lot of school bands.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
That's why you'd have band directors turning
course.
on to this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I came to it, But it was, he just, for the umpteenth time, he just plays each chart just really, really well.
I was telling Tom, like, I've only seen Peter live once, which is shocking. Like, you'd think I would.
That did shock me, yeah.
You think I would have seen him a million times? I've only seen him once, and it was with Steely Dan.
Interesting.
And he played the hell out of that kid. He sounded so good. I was like blown away
That's
at
awesome.
how great he sounded.
I would love to hear him play with
Just
Steely
like
Dan.
killing.
It's too bad it was so short lived. It was just one tour, right?
Yeah.
Or part of a tour.
Oh, he only did just really.
He did like
Yeah.
one tour, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like there was 1 year where he was.
Are there videos of it anywhere?
I don't have
that
any.
a Live
I think,
in
I think I maybe
America?
saw one clip.
Live in America?
Yeah.
There's like a live record?
Yep.
But Dennis is on a lot of that,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I remember the kit he played on that tour. He had a same color as your Maple Custom kit, the vintage natural kit.
Oh, wow.
And that kit was at Maxwell's for a while. Like the Peter, I was like, oh, there's the Peter, like the actual kit. There's the Peter Erskine Steely Dan kit.
Was it like,
10, 12, 14, 16, 22.
Wow,
snare,
yeah, wow.
He sounded great.
oh, I bet he sounded amazing.
Sounded so good.
Yeah, I'm surprised he never ended up on one of their records. He kind of fits that Rick
Oh, he
Marotta
could
mold.
totally
you know.
play in that band, yeah.
Yeah, I think that stuff maybe gets a little overlooked too. Like his groove thing is nice, man. It's
Really nice.
got like a little bit of a slipperiness to it that maybe some like other fusion guys at the time didn't. And I'm not calling Erskine a fusion guy, but he played a lot of music that's in the same vein as these other guys that played fusion. You know,
Sure.
How else
Fusion
would you
jazz.
describe him? He's kind of like the best version of a fusion drummer.
Well, he's
Yeah.
he's different. Like he's got this.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Like he
yeah.
just kind of does everything so nicely. You know,
He does play
he's
fusion
not as
music
muscular
great.
like some of those guys. Like
Yeah,
his
he's
playing
not Billy
isn't
Cobham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about it. But when it needs to be strong, it's really strong too.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's funky. These last two of mine, the last two in general,
Yep.
are. Let's do this one first.
Okay.
This is from a Peter Erskine record called Sweet Soul.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bunch of different kind of tracks on this record.
I remember when this came out.
I got it in '92, I think, when it came out. I was playing a summer gig at an amusement park in Cincinnati. I took a road trip with a guy to Nashville. We went to the Tower Records down there, and I bought this and a bunch of other stuff. And I remember like listening to this tune specifically, and just thinking like who writes music like this? This is a Vince Mendoza tune. And the tune after this is from a different record, but another Vince Mendoza tune. Not on Vince Mendoza albums. One's on a Peter Erskine album, one's on a Jimmy Haslip album. And his writing is so unique and specific. And I can't imagine anybody serving this music any better than Peter does. He's like the perfect guy for this. I wouldn't want to hear anybody else play this music. And it's kind of a mystery to me, like how he knows when to breathe, when he knows when to play the right stuff, when to turn the snares on, when to have the snares off, when to
Yeah,
play
wow.
brushes, when to play sticks,
Yeah.
when to double something, when to play through stuff. It's and there's so much music he's recorded of Vince's writing on some of Vince's own albums, as well as his own Peter's records, the Haslip records. So let's just check this one out. This tune's called Scholastic. Another one with Schofield. And Lovano's on this track too, so it kind of reminds me in a way of
Yeah.
the Sco band, the quartet with Lovano.
The early
You know,
90s.
Hearing those guys play together with Bill or with Jack. You
Yeah.
know?
All right. From the top, Scholastic.
This is gonna be a long one. Sorry.
That's bad.
So bad.
That's really great,
Oh, just,
man.
you know, like the melody how they're just kind of
Totally.
pulling and pushing, and how he plays over under SCO.
It's beautiful, man.
So killing, man.
His instincts are second to none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really great.
It's
Yeah.
so ridiculous. Now the next one, same composer. There's a bunch of percussion on this, so it's a little more like grid kind of. You know, I mean,
I know what you
they
mean.
could be playing to a click. They could not be playing to a click.
Oh, I know what this is from.
But man, the
That
way
Arc record?
yeah,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
way he plays on this, he's playing like a deader bass drum, like a little less jazz sound than the last record. But the way he plays this is some of the baddest stuff I've ever heard.
Wow. Yeah.
Like some of the best drumming ever.
Yeah.
And there's a point where he turns the snares on, and it's like it kills me. It's like, oh my god, listen to that, you know.
Now, question is, has your appreciation for him grown as you gotten older, or was it the same when you first heard him?
I
when you
think
were
it's
younger?
gotten a little more, you know. But again, it's like there's so much music in the world. It's like
Yeah.
I'm always checking out different stuff, so I'll revisit this stuff from time to time. And every time you hear it, after a pause of not hearing it for a couple of years, a certain record, whatever it is, you're kind of hearing it with new ears. We talked about that before.
That's how I felt listening to the Mincer big band stuff.
Like that stuff you heard when you were young.
Totally.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It grows, you know. And I feel bad. I apologize to Peter if he sees this that we're not putting more recent stuff. It's just so much to check out and keep
So
up
much.
with. And also, it's like we were used to going to stores and buying all this. Like I own all of this music,
I know.
all
I
of
know.
it. You know.
Yeah.
So now it's hard to find anything. You know, you have to kind of seek it out online.
Yep.
And that's just not really my style. You know.
I hear you.
So this last one is a Jimmy Haslip record,
Called Arc. This is his
Arc.
first album.
and the track is called Orange Guitars.
Yeah. It's another long clip.
All right, let's rock it.
Ridiculous.
Here we go. This is 1 minute and 20 seconds in. He's just playing the songs. Like, he's always just
and
playing
there's
the
that percussion
song.
happening, which gives him space to like feel like I don't have to like lay it down. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
The way he floats
Yeah.
over that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I've said this about Weckl and Vinny, even though we haven't done Vinny, like I not necessarily in this podcast, but just talking to people about drumming,
Yeah.
and I can't imagine getting a chart and like bringing it to life like that.
That's what it becomes. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, he's so great at that.
it's unbelievable, man.
Yeah,
What's
it's really
that
great.
Steps Ahead tune? That would have been my pick. Pools.
Yeah,
Pools, yeah.
Killing.
The way he plays on that, I'm like, no one would have thought to play this composition this way.
Mm-hmm.
No
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like all that weather report experience really
Big time.
informed all this stuff because it was like tight and loose.
Yeah.
You know?
At the same time, yeah.
That's some magical stuff. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Tight and loose.
That's the mastery of the music.
And to me,
Right?
that's like where he's like the magic of him compared to the other guys that I love from that era.
Absolutely.
I don't know if they could really do. I mean, they're all incredibly
They're great.
amazing as well.
Yep.
And in some ways, they have their specialties, which makes
Totally.
maybe Peter doesn't have what they have, and
Sure.
vice versa. And that's not a knock on anybody, but he just has this thing that who can do that, you know?
They called the right guy, man. I will say this might be a kind of a good way to end, but I remember this was years ago. I was doing a recording session with the wonderful trombonist and arranger Jay Ashby, and we were playing this tune that was sort of a floaty straight eighth ECM kind of a thing, and I was trying to figure out if I should really just sort of kind of float or if I should come up with like a specific groove or something. And I kind of like got Jay's, I said, hey man, what do you think about, should I do it like this or like this? Cause he was kind of half producing it as well. And I'll never forget, he paused and he just looked at me and he went, Peter Erskine.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's easy to do that.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew what he
knew
meant, you know?
Those are we need that stuff. You
Totally.
just say, oh, it's an ECM vibe. It's a
Right.
it's an Elvin, blah blah blah.
I'll just never forget him looking at me and just going, Peter Erskine.
Yeah, that's heavy.
I think it just shows how influential he is.
Yeah. I watched a couple clips the other night of some newer video, maybe the last 5 years or so. I'm not sure what the website is or he does these little instructional clips, like newer ones. I'm not sure if you know what that's called, Master something.
I don't think I've seen those.
Yeah.
But just these little tidbits of little.
Yeah.
Here's how you play the hi hat.
Yeah.
And it's like everything is timekeeping, but it's like that same delivery.
Yeah,
Newer, yeah.
Where you just feel like, oh, I love this guy. He's kind and he's
Yeah.
friendly and he explains it perfect. And then every once in a while he'll add a little extra in there, and you're like, ooh, he's still playing his butt off, man.
That's what we talked about all the time. The fundamentals. Everything else is just artistry.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's kind of embodies that for me.
Yeah,
Totally. His fundamentals are strong.
yeah.
Well, that's 10 records I need to start listening to.
Man. Yeah, I got some to check out too. This is great.
And that is it for this episode. That is it for this season of the Drum Candy Podcast. Appreciate all of you listening, all your patience as we take some little mini breaks throughout the year to kind of recalibrate. We're going to be back full steam ahead with season 7 coming up soon. We've got Tom doing some more of his portraits and jazz stuff. I'm going to be doing a lot more gear-focused stuff, some more special guests. So again, thank you so much for listening and all your support. You can always reach me at drumcandypodcast@gmail.com, the Drum Factory Direct Instagram page. You can hit me up on my personal page, Mike Dawson Drums. Make sure you give us a review. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, have a good time checking out some Peter Erskine, and we'll see you then.